So just so you know, our podcast started, we're all wizards. There's me and the boys, and there's a great debate as to why I'm even on this podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Disney with the Ducks. Tonight, you've got me, the one single duck who is here this evening for episode 163, and we are super excited tonight about a Run Disney experience, not a first Run Disney experience, but Run Disney experience for the first time on the East Coast. So excited to hear about the differences here. So really excited for our guest this evening. Why don't the two of you introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm Davis, and I'm excited to be here. And I got to experience the Springtime Surprise 10-miler for the first time. And I would say I'm an avid runner. I try to run 6 to 7 days a week. And I've only had experience with the Disneyland races from 2024 and now. And we wanted to get our coast to coast medal. So our goal was to do the Springtime Surprise, and we did the 10-miler. And yeah, it was definitely a different beast on the East Coast. The expo was crazy. We didn't know what to expect at all because we're used to the small Disneyland expo in the hotel, and it's only like one ballroom, two ballrooms. And so when we went over to Disney World, we're like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah, a little different, that's for certain.
And then the weather was a big difference too. When we got into Florida, they had a heat wave. And we were coming from perfect San Diego, like 60 degrees all the time. We got to Florida and it was like 90 with humidity. We're like, oh, this is going to be a little difficult. But it was a great time.
And your lovely wife joined us this evening. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Yvette. I'm not as much of an avid runner as my husband, but I do the Jeff Galloway run walk method. This was my first 10-miler, but I've been doing some of the Disneyland half marathons over here, and definitely, like he said, a whole other beast of its own when it comes to the East Coast. I've always heard people be like, how many days do I need for the expo at Disneyland? I'm like, days? I'm like, what are you talking about? Maybe like 2-3 hours tops? They're like, sure. I now understand. I fully comprehend the question of how many days is required. I feel like we didn't even get enough to really experience the expo over there, but it was definitely a nice kind of like start for our Walt Disney World Run Disney experiences.
All right, so Yvette and Davis, I'm going to ask you a get to know you question because it's how I like to kind of start off the podcast. So I'm going to just do a general one. Tell me about how you got started with Disney, because, people are like, you're a Disney adult. That's a little, how did that start? So why don't you guys each tell me about your backstory with Disney and how you came about to wanting to even do these crazy Run Disney experiences?
Okay. So I grew up in Orange County. So Disneyland was in my backyard. I lived about 15 minutes away. So I guess my mom would take me before I even knew what Disney was. So I had the pass from like the early 90s. And I guess I even went to Club 33 a couple times. I had no idea because I was a baby. But
Are there photos to prove this? Do you?
We finally found one the other day. We were like,
my mom was like,
it happened.
My mom was all like, you've been a few times. I'm like, really? I don't remember. But it was about 15 minutes away from me. So I grew up going to Disney, and I loved it there. When I became like a teenager, I kind of strayed away from Disney a little bit. And then as soon as I met her in about 2012, she was a huge Disney fan. So I was like, okay, I guess I can start going back to it. And ever since, we've been a pass member. And then Yeah, and we started hearing about the Disney races and about
From all of our friends.
from all our friends, like,
Most
hey,
of our friends in the East Coast were the ones telling us. They're like, do it, do it. And then finally, when the Disneyland 2024 that they said were coming back, they're like, this is it.
Yeah.
You're joining us.
So we signed up for that. I wasn't running at all then, so I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. And then after we did the 5K and the 10K, I was like, okay, I want to get better at this. And ever since then, I've been training pretty hard and going for good times.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna throw this out there. So you're really fast. You're
Thank you.
very fast runner. You are in a different league than most of the people that I know, which is good for you. I mean, that's awesome. But so that you're sometimes I look at you when so for those of you who don't know, we're all lizards, and on the Be Our Guest podcast, the lizards page, they have places you don't have to, but a lot of people share their training runs and their accomplishments for running or training that week. And most of us are, in one category. And then all of a sudden Davis puts his stuff out and it's like, oh, I didn't know watches could go that fast.
Yeah, so I used to do cross country in high school, but that was 20 years ago. So, I mean, I'm nowhere near the times I used to be able to then, but I still think I had the running bug in me. And so, yeah, ever since we did that first Disneyland race, okay, I want to get better at this.
And that's
And
good
then,
place to come back to. Not a local 5K where it's, $25 and you get a a donut at the end. You went
yeah, the
all
support's
in,
not
like,
the
if
same.
we're gonna do this, let's do Disneyland.
But yeah, and then my wife, she's a huge
Okay, so let's talk about your love of Disney
Yeah.
and how this
So
happened.
it's a family affair. My grandma was definitely a huge Disney fan. My whole family always said that even my great grandpa had very similar aspects to Walt Disney. So I don't know if that's where they're like just delightful dreaming of it. But we would always go, even though we're local San Diegans, we would make the drive all the time. And I had family in LA, so it was a nice like pit stop midway. Had season passes pretty much my whole life like him. It was really funny when we were getting married. Both my mom and his mom found our old school Disneyland pass that just has like your photo on it, and we have matching photos of with like little Mickey ears and everything. So it was definitely like there from birth for both of us, which was a really cool thing that we have in common. I pretty much kept going my whole life. Like I didn't have the break like he did. But I think that's one of the things that I've always loved about it is like that consistency that Disneyland has, even as it has changed so much over the years. I did not have a background in running whatsoever. I actually was a dancer. I was like the least amount that I have to run, the better. Till right now, all of my friends pretty much make fun of me. They're like, what happened to I hate running? I'm like, just signed up for the full marathon in January. I don't know what to tell you.
What happened to I Hate Running is they put a Mickey with it. So now
That's what I keep saying. I'm like, I'm entertained because there's so much entertainment in the Disney races. But I think the biggest component for me is the same kind of like magical aspect that Disneyland has had, even like when I've been sick and stuff like that. The Disneyland races have that. And like that sense of security that you get that your fellow runners next to you will go ahead and pick you up if you fall. They'll call the medics if something happens to you. I think is truly what has given me that security of like, I can keep pushing and keep trying new things. He originally only told me we were signed up for the 5K because it was Pluto and I love Pluto. I was like, sure, the Pluto one, it's fine. Did not tell me that he signed me up for the 10K as well in 2024. It was kind of a surprise. So when we got to the expo, it's like, why am I getting two bibs? I did not agree to this. He's like, it's fine. It's Donald Duck and Daisy. You love them too. I'm like, okay, sure. Full panic attack when I realized what it meant that I needed to run. But after we were done with the 5, I'm like, oh, I can do this. Okay. 10K did it. I'm like, so why did we not sign up for Dumbo? I like the merch more. And that is kind of how he got me into it. And again, how we went from in 1 year, now we're signed up for Disneyland Full Marathon 2026. Still trying to figure that one out.
Watch out, it's an addiction.
Oh,
is.
totally. Yeah, 'cause
We're fully there.
we're still new to the whole
Yeah.
Run Disney thing. So
Well, and I guess I should start off by saying
Yeah.
congratulations, you made it through registration, because
Yeah.
that is in itself a headache and full of anxiety. And
yeah.
everyone, I think, loses about 10 years off their life on registration day. So
I like to think that Comic-Con registration, D23 registration, has prepared us for this moment. We both are like ready with laptops, phones, the works, trying to make sure we get through. But I will say, being in California does give you an advantage, I think, with the time of registration opening. We were still in Walt Disney World when one of the Comic-Con registrations opened. And that time frame of the 12 p.m. for you over there, definitely I can see how it's a lot more impactful with your work day, that sort of thing. When as for us, we're still starting our day. You can work later if needed. So I think that does help a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, so got a little bit about your Disney history and how you both kind of grew up Disneyland, which I love, both California kids. And so your first Run Disney races ever was the running out on the West Coast.
Yes, exactly. In 2024.
Okay, so we were also out there for that. That's the year that I earned my Coast to Coast. That's when we went.
Nice.
That was the most ridiculous Dopey to Dumbo.
Yes, it was.
I did Goofy to Dumbo. I didn't do Dopey that year. That was like we flew home for 2 days, then flew back out there. And then I got super injured, and that was crazy. So have you done a Disneyland race since then?
Yes.
We did the Halloween race.
The one that was 1,005 degrees.
Yes, it was 100 degrees with the humidity was high.
It was like 90-something% humidity.
So do you think, based on the first one, the 2024 Return to Running race, and then the Halloween race, do you think that you saw any improvements or any changes over that time?
I think Disneyland got it together.
Yeah. 1,000%.
There wasn't as much congestion. I think even though with the heat was bad, I feel like everybody thought it was more organized. Disneyland was doing it a little better than that 2020, the first one in January.
I was going to say, even from the 5K to the 10K of Halloween marathon weekend, obviously 5K, it was when everybody realized the heat level that we were experiencing. They added extra water stops during their course. For the half, there was extra as well. They put extra of the Powerade stations, and they not only fixed the way that our waves go out, but they also fixed the issues at the expo with exchanging. If you pre-purchased items, you can exchange sizes, you can do returns, that sort of thing. So they really did listen to a lot of the feedback from January 2024 to the Halloween one, and they maintained it for January 2025 as well.
That's awesome.
Made the process smooth. Did you go to the last one in January, Disneyland?
I haven't. No, that was kind of a big deal to do that coast to coast, and I was like, I want to get coast to coast under my belt, and we have kids, and so it's always who's going to stay here and watch them, or pulling them out of school wasn't really ideal because they're middle school and high school anyway. It just was one of those like, we're going to do it once, and I'm going to just be perfectly honest with you. We had some not so great things happen that in California, like we had some weird cast interactions and things. And so my husband needs a little bit of time to heal. Let's go back to California. So, so
it's understandable.
So I think Lonnie is registered for one of the California races. I'm not sure. So, but you have to understand, it's also a much bigger deal to get out, as you know, because it is coast. Like it's a time to travel out there. Where here it's a 2-hour flight. We can be
definitely.
We can fly down there and be home on the same day if we needed to. We wouldn't do that, but you could if you needed to. So I'm like, okay, so you've done some Run Disney races on the West Coast. What made you decide to try one in Walt Disney World?
The medal.
Yeah, the medal. We saw the coast to coast medal. Like, okay,
castles.
This is our chance. Like we weren't able to sign up for Dopey, the first Dopey in 2025. But hey, springtime surprise is coming up. There's an open registration for the 10 miler and the challenge. So should we go for it? And we're all like, let's try the 10-miler first, and we'll see how it goes from there. So as soon as I saw the open registration, I got it for some type of present for her.
Oh, it was Christmas.
Christmas
Yeah.
present.
You're like,
And,
whatever. One of
yeah.
those gifts.
And yeah, so we went for it. And all our friends were like, you need to try a Disney World race. So it
It
was
felt
the
like
time.
the nice like in between, and I think it was like the last one for this specific medal
Season, yeah.
So we were like, okay, this is happening.
So tell me how you got out there, where you stayed, when you flew in, all that good stuff.
So we flew out
Tuesday
of was it the 1st?
Yes, so
Yeah,
on the 1st.
Yeah, April 1st, because we wanted to get
2nd, sorry.
we wanted to get acclimated to the Florida environment before we started our races. So yeah, we flew out from San Diego. We had a layover in Vegas, but it was quick, and then we got to Florida at about 5 a.m. And from there, we were lucky, and we were able to check into our hotel at Saratoga Springs.
Wow.
Right away. Yeah, they took us in right away.
They were very nice and accommodating. Like we went in to check in, and we were like, we understand, if there's no rooms or anything yet, are we able to like leave our bags? And we've had questions about right now, deluxe resorts, you get on the day of your check-in, you can go to the water parks. So we just wanted to, again, ask more questions about that. And he asked us if we were there for the races. That sort of thing. And he's like, yeah, check-in is at 4 p.m. We're like, that's fine.
We'll just hang
out or something. It took us longer to like exit the where you register for your hotel. And when we were at to check in our bags, we got the text message saying your room is ready. This is your room number. So I think like he didn't want to officially say, I can check you in right now.
But this is like 5:30 a.m.
Yeah, it was like
so this is perfect. Yeah.
That's amazing. So that never happens to me.
I know. We know it was like a, once in a lifetime, like magical moment sort of deal.
So last spring break, we were at Grand Floridian, and I had messed up our DVC points, and I had booked one at the DVC Villa and one at the DVC room at Grand Floridian. Like there's two different things at Grand Floridian. And I didn't realize when I booked it that I had booked. Anyway, so we were homeless for a couple hours on one day. And we had dinner reservations that night with Scotty G and his family. And we were trying, at a nice restaurant though. So we had been like at the parks and we were gross and we needed to clean up. And our room wasn't ready until like 6 p.m. and our reservations were at like 6:20.
Oh my goodness.
It was one of those like, come on, please. Like it's always the time that you so kudos to you two. You must have just been like, please, it's our, the first race here.
Yeah,
like here's some sprinkling of pixie dust.
Totally.
It literally felt like that when we got that text message of this is your room number. I was like, I can sleep. I haven't slept at all.
And the concierge was so nice.
So nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Very accommodating.
Is this your first time to Walt Disney World?
No.
So it's my 4th time, but it's been all spread out. So I went like as a kid in the 1990s. I went as a teenager, like in the early mid 2000s. I went once with her in like
2021.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, 3 years ago, and then this one for the race.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Disney World is very new to me. I don't know anything about Disney World.
Yeah, and so much bigger and so much more to coordinate, figure out. Like that was my favorite thing about Disneyland. I'm like, let's go to Disneyland. Let's go to DCA. Let's go to Disneyland. Let's go to DCA. We can just walk back and forth.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just we don't have to worry about it. And we don't have to worry about planes and trains and automobiles and buses and monorails and boats and Skyliners. We can just go in between the two. So very different beast. So what made you all decide on Saratoga Springs?
Well, we were looking at different hotels and it did turn into a family vacation, and they actually had the 2-room villa available for the entire length of our stay. So we were also looking at Old Key West and they didn't have it for the entire length of our stay, and we didn't really want to be switching hotels in the middle of it. Yeah. So that's how we ended up with Saratoga Springs. And we also didn't really want to be too much in like, certain areas, or we wanted to be able to be relaxed, and we wanted to be close to Disney Springs also, just so we could go get dinner.
I didn't realize how close Disney Springs was to Saratoga.
So funny that the one time that I stayed at Saratoga Springs, it was pouring rain. So we had these great we're gonna just walk over to the springs for dinner, dessert, whatever. And every time it was pouring. So we would drive our car over there, which was the most ridiculous thing ever. But
It's like right there.
because we're like, this is so dumb that we're driving here. We can see it, but
Yeah.
the rain was just coming down like crazy. And we're like, I'm not gonna walk over there and get like we might as well drive. It was just silly. But okay, so you said other people joined you. It wasn't just the two of you for this trip?
Yeah, it originally was supposed to be the two of us, and then
My brother joined because he was like, "Hey, I want to go to Disney World." We're like, "Okay, that's fine." And then my mom and dad, they haven't been since the 1990s. And they're like, "You know what? Well, let's make this a family trip."
We were trying to do a Walt Disney World family trip before the pandemic, and then when everything shut down, it kind of just got lost in the middle of everything. So I think this was the opportunity that we were like, wait, we have been trying to do this for a while, which is also one of the reasons we didn't end up upgrading our registration for the challenge, because we're like, we can't do 4 days of running and then on top of it, parks and everything. So we were like happy with just the 10 miler, getting our challenge medal, but also being able to enjoy the actual parks.
And a 10 miler race is a really unique distance.
It is.
I know for marathon weekend, you can use a 10-mile race. It's the lowest distance that you can use for a proof of time. So you can use a half marathon, but you can use a 10-miler. Well, finding 10-miler races is really hard. Like you're just not as prevalent as half marathons, 5Ks, whatever. So we were looking for one last summer because they also changed the proof of time window. They moved it up, so it was a shorter period last year.
Okay.
So we're like, we've got to find a 10 mile. So it's kind of nice that it's just a different amount and a different race.
I thought it was actually the perfect distance too, because for me, I don't have to pace myself as much, and I feel like I could go more all out for the whole 10 miles.
Yeah, I was able to join. So, like I said, I do the run walk, the Jeff Galloway pace, and I was actually able to stay with my pace group that I wanted. So I tend to go about 2 pace groups like above what my true goal time is. Usually I can keep up, but if the heat gets to me or anything like that, that way I can fall back into, again, my other goal. But with this one, because of the distance, I was able to stay with my pace group the entire time. It was just nice to be able to do that. And at the end of it, I still felt very fresh and ready to go, not, as exhausted as the normal half kind of thing.
Yeah. And did I hear you guys say you registered for marathon weekend?
Yes, we did. So before this race, I was like, we're gonna try for the marathon weekend. So originally we had Dopey on our mind. Like Dopey was on our mind. And then when it came to the actual time, like, I've never ran a marathon before, so I don't know if I should do the Dopey. So I ended up getting lucky and I signed up for Goofy. So I'm going to do the half marathon and the full marathon. And my wife is going to do the full marathon. Yeah. So it's going to be a brand new distance for us. So we're very, very excited.
They're fantastic. I will give you a couple just to do the training. Like don't sit out of the training. But also they're great with water stops for the full marathon. It has been excruciating hot and it's been freezing cold. Like this last race weekend, we had a friend who was a perfect Dopey try to tap out at mile 13. He was like, I can't do it. I'm freezing. And we were like, stay where you are. We're coming in the medic tent. We're going to get you out. You're going to be fine. And we got him and we made him finish the race with us. But so you never know what you're going to get. Like our first, my husband's Tim, and our first runDisney, our first marathon weekend was so hot. They passed out sponges at mile 18 or 19 or whatever, so you could use it to cool your body. And he seriously thought they were holding up pieces of cheese, like the cheese in this, not Velveeta, but the cheese in the Kraft American cheese that they have in the pack. That's what he thought they were. He's like, why are they passing out cheese? I'm like, that's a sponge, and clearly you need that water because you're
going delirious. Yeah.
So, no pun intended with the Goofy. So that's exciting for the two of you. That's awesome. We'll see you there on Marathon Sunday. You'll see all the lizard green and get all the pictures. And
I heard all the lizards go out to Marathon Weekend.
Marathon Weekend is a big, huge reunion, and people are so great and so friendly. And sign up for the dinners and go to the events. I mean, rest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
It's
only part
crazy.
of Run Disney, right? Is it's
You
the
have to get up
marathon in
early.
itself with the whole you want to go to the parks and get photos afterwards. You want to meet up with all your friends. Like there's so many extra components. I'm like, we have some friends that have been asking us, well, we kind of want to do it with you. I'm like, you need to realize that it's an endurance weekend, not just the distance you're running, but the commitment to your lack of sleep
Yeah.
and being able to be with it consistently.
Yeah, I'd say the worst that we've done with that was wine and dine this past year because we went to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party the
Oh.
night before the 5K.
Yeah.
So we got back to the room at like 1 something in the morning and we costumed hard for both Mickey's Not So Scary and for the 5K. And so it was maybe not our wisest decision of our life, but it was fun. We had a great time.
You did.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so you flew out on Tuesday, you get to Saratoga, you get there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, voila, magic, your room's ready.
Yeah.
So the two of you, your brother, and your parents.
Yeah.
So there's that's what, 5 adults? Is that
Five.
Yeah.
Yeah. Five
so you
total.
all, I'm like doing the math in my head
Yeah.
real quick. So you all go to your room. Is this your first time at Saratoga?
Yes.
Yes, it
First
was.
time.
So, DVC people always say like, oh, Saratoga is the last of all resorts. I actually really like Saratoga. I love the rooms and I like the location. So tell me what your initial impressions were. What did you think of it?
Yeah, right when we walked in, I was like, this is amazing. The room was spacious. It looked very like a home environment. We had the 2-room villa, so it was perfect. Had the kitchen, had the living room. And we decided to take a nap before we went to the water park. And
Very smart.
yeah, and we had a view of the golf course. And I was actually very impressed by Saratoga.
That's
It was
awesome.
it was much more of an upgrade from the last time we went to Disney World. We stayed at Art of Animation. So it was nice to upgrade.
Yeah. Art of Animation wasn't bad, but because it was just the two of us the last time, we weren't in the bigger family rooms. So we were in the Little Mermaid Tower, and we were basically told those are the individual rooms that were supposed to mimic like the Pop Century ones.
Right.
So it felt very crowded. I can see maybe what people sometimes don't want to do Saratoga because it's not as decorated and like Disney-fied, if you will, as some of the other resorts. However, I think for what we wanted it, which was a lot bigger space, having a kitchen ability, I thought it was really beautiful. It was super decorated. All of the cast members were absolutely fantastic. Like they would see us walking, they're like,
You want a
wait,
golf ride?
you want a golf cart ride? Like, I'm not doing like, I can take you right now. And we're like, why not? Like,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
and I feel like I mean, I've stayed at some of the other resorts on property, and don't get me wrong, they're beautiful and like they're great. But even for example, like contemporary and stuff, they're so busy that you don't get that extra level of like care and magic from the cast members that are there. So I think that's something that for me stood out quite a bit. It felt very much like old school Disney in the sense of how they treat their guests.
Yeah, I agree. I actually really like Saratoga, and I'd be happy to stay there again.
We were very welcome to return.
That's great. Okay, so you said you took a nap, smart.
Yep.
And then did I hear you say you took advantage of so in 20, we've mentioned it, but just in case anyone doesn't know, in 2025, anyone staying at a Walt Disney World Resort property, so value to deluxe, anybody checking in that day can take advantage of a free, or I should use the word free, included in your stay water park on your first day of your stay. So you just decided to take advantage of that?
Yes, we took the bus to Blizzard Beach at like
Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom Blizzard
Hold
Beach.
on. You're going to have very different thoughts of Blizzard Beach after January. So please tell me you had a great time because
We did. It was a warm day.
I hate Blizzard Beach.
I will say I am not a water park girl at all, like ever. And him and my brother-in-law, they're like, let's go. I'm like, okay. I remember seeing Blizzard Beach on the sing-along videos when I was a child. So I was like, fine, I will go just because of that. And it was nice. Like it wasn't what I expected, which I think I had again, I'm not a water park girl, so definitely had another idea of what it was going to be like. But it was, it was nice. It was well maintained. It didn't feel gross or anything.
So I've never been to either water park ever.
Oh, wow.
Out of the 8 million times I've been to Disney World. And back in the day, they actually included the water parks in your tickets. It was called like Magic Your Way ticket. I forget what they called it. But if you got a ticket, a theme park ticket, it included the water parks. But I've never been. So you guys have done something I haven't done. So now I've heard that the water parks have been super crowded and because everyone's taking advantage of this. Did you find lines long or crowds?
So we got there early, so the lines weren't that bad yet. But after about noon, the lines were insane for everything. So we kind of just hung out for a while.
It basically felt like, because one of the other things was we were very lucky we flew out on like the red eye overnight. A lot of people were having delays and issues getting into Orlando on Wednesday. So I think it basically felt like as soon as like flights were landing, the rooms were not ready and people were just going straight to the water park. So I would say between 12 and like 3 that we were there, you just all of a sudden, it just felt like a wave of people like just got to the water park. All the tables were busy. The lines got super long for the different attractions. But before that, it was very nice. Like there was plenty of space. You could just get a lounger, that sort of thing. I think another indicator that it was busy was all the cabanas were booked out for the day. Like they had a big sign in the front saying that there was no more rentals for the day. But it was, I mean, we still got a lot done. We still did pretty much all the different little ride things.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I'm going to challenge the two of you when you go in January for marathon weekend. When you're at Blizzard Beach, I want you to remember all those wonderful memories you had, how nice and pleasant it was, because that's the part of the marathon that you're questioning all your life's choices. And you run through the parking lot and there's nothing joyful about it at all. So, so when everyone's like, Blizzard Beach, you'll be like, but we had so much fun in April. It was great. Like, so like bring up all those great memories and think about all the fun you had and tell the people next to you, like, it's actually not terrible. It's fun in there, because most of us just know what the parking lot is like. And we don't have very nice things to say. As a matter of fact, we ran past it at Wine and Dine race weekend, and there's a picture of my husband and I going like, yeah.
I feel like I need to make a printout of our photo when we were there having like the pina coladas and stuff and be like, remember this.
Yes,
what mile marker is?
Yeah, is that 19?
It's after, it is late. It's like after Animal Kingdom. So this year Animal Kingdom was mile like 18 and 19. So it's maybe
it was around
20, 21. It's just weird. And it's hot then, and you're just kind of you're like, seriously, this is why am I doing this? This is the dumbest thing ever. But it will be great for you all. I'm telling you, it will be great. Yeah. And there's people and there's things, everything's happening. It's awesome. But I'm not sure that you're gonna like we love the Rise and Run podcast too, and they talk about Blizzard Beach a lot. Like, I'm not sure there's anyone who's ever gonna say like, I love Blizzard Beach. So, so just remember to bring up those fond memories and that joyful time you had there, because that will be something that a lot of us don't have. So you'll be like, but really, it's nice in there. I had a good time. Okay, so that night, what did you guys do? Did you go anywhere for dinner?
Oh, we went to Publix, which was our first time at a Publix.
Yes, we got our groceries.
Stocked up with groceries.
Yeah. Did you have a car? Or did you just Uber everywhere?
We Ubered.
Okay,
yeah. And then once we got all the groceries settled in, we went over to Disney Springs and we went to Homecoming, which we love. And that was a great first meal.
Yeah, that was a great first.
Good grub over there. I can't. Our Chef Art Smith's Homecoming is fantastic. So
yeah.
Good way to start it off. Nice that you were able to get reservations too, because those are sometimes hard to come by. So
exactly.
Definitely. I was like watching them.
So Wednesday morning you wake up, and what's on the agenda that day?
Oh, Thursday.
Sorry. Okay, you flew. Yeah. You left Tuesday, landed Wednesday morning. So you got now we're on Thursday. Sorry, I'm one day.
No, you're good. Thursday we did early entry for Magic Kingdom. So we got Seven Dwarfs Mine Train done bright and early. Smart. As soon as we got there. And
that was Expo
Day. So while we were trying to be in line for Seven Dwarfs, we were on our phones trying to join for the Expo, and we got one of the very first groups, which was.
And then actually Molly did the RSVP, and she had group 1, and she asked me, she was all like, do you guys need registration. We're like, my group's like 25, so we have to wait a little bit. So like, you can take mine for group 1, and we're like, okay, we'll do it. We'll head over right now. So.
Which I will say I am very thankful, not just because it was for group 1, but this is something I noticed that is very different between the My Disney Experience app for Walt Disney World and Disneyland. When you do virtual queues for Disneyland on their app, you select your party and it stays set for your entire day unless you choose otherwise. So we had selected it like we're used to for Disneyland's app. We didn't realize that if you exit out of it or anything like that, when you come back, you have to reselect your entire group. So Davis didn't actually have me selected, and because I had him selected, my thing kept saying like, no, you're already in a group. So it wasn't until like after he spoke with Molly that said like, you can have one of my things. When I clicked on our thing again, it only had Davis's name marked on it. So that is something I think if you're coming from West Coast to East Coast, be more mindful of, that our apps are still very different. Because again, we're very used to like, you selected, it's set for the remainder of your day. So that was, I think, a big one for us. If it hadn't been for that, I would have just had to wait outside or wait for I think it's a 1 p.m. that you can try again for the virtual queue.
Yeah, there are some differences between the apps, and they each have their,
their quirkiness.
But yeah, that's a good thing to mention, that, make sure you select all the party. I know even in our doing things like when we're doing lightning lanes, sometimes you miss a name or you don't grab everybody, or I had to pare down my friends and family list because I had too many people. I'm like, I actually booked our friend Sarah. I bought her a Tron or Guardians or something on accident on a day she wasn't even going to be there. Or she was going to be at a different park. And I was like, well, Sarah, I'm sorry. I clicked your name. I didn't mean to, but sorry, you now have a Tron.
Yeah.
Whatever it was. Like I didn't mean to, but sometimes when you're booking those at 7 a.m. and you're just trying to go.
Exactly. You're just trying to go quickly.
But yeah, so as soon as we got that group, we're like, okay, we need to go to the expo. Our friends were like, you need to go now. It's going to start getting really busy there.
So how'd you get there? If you were at Magic Kingdom, did you walk over to Contemporary or?
No, so that was an experience. First of all, we had at Saratoga Springs, they had the little sandwich board with the QR code, and it said this is for like your bus times and stuff like that. I was like, okay. So we went to the QR code page, and it was just the runDisney Expo splash page that gives you. It wasn't actually like a timetable or anything like that, which that was already something I didn't really like, because if, again, you're not familiar with the whole race weekend,
we had no idea.
And we started asking, when we got to the entrance of Magic Kingdom, we started asking security, hey, do you know which way is the best way to get to the ESPN Worldwide of Sports? We're trying to get there for Run Expo. I don't know how.
Yeah, none of them had an answer
I don't know
for
how.
us.
Like, that's all we kept getting. So it's like, okay, so we were getting a little flustered because we started realizing the time was getting closer. And one of our friends, luckily, she has been there for like a few race weekends. She told us, take the bus to Pop Century, which is the closest one, and then just take the bus from there to the expo. So that's what we did. We went to the normal buses for Pop Century, went over there, and then right when we got off the bus for Pop Century, they had a charter bus
for the expo
waiting ready. So it started off as a good experience with the buses, but it was not. Me and the buses are not friends. Like,
so a couple of things. That's when are you on the Discord, the BOGP?
I'm on it. I haven't used it that much, but I am on it. Yeah.
That's when you pop in there like, I'm at Magic Kingdom. I have to get to the expo. What should I do? Because I probably would have told you to walk over to the Contemporary and grab the bus directly from the Contemporary to the expo. So then you didn't have to make a double switch.
That would be, yeah.
What you did was great. It's because the nice thing about Pop is Pop doesn't share their buses with any other resort.
I think maybe that's what she was thinking.
You were going directly from Pop there, which is awesome. And also another thing to know is the buses that go to the expo and take you to the races are not run Disney or are not Disney.
We learned that.
Again, me and the buses, not friends.
You're going to get some interesting situations with the buses. It's a whole different company. Very interesting. So, okay. So you made it to the expo.
We made it. Yeah.
So we walked there.
You've never been to the ESPN Center for it.
No, I have
Never.
never
I'm
been to
like,
the whole complex.
You're Disneyland, it's a building, you go up some steps, you go down some steps, and you're pretty much finished with the expo.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us your thought when you pull into ESPN?
Yeah, so when we got out of the bus, it's like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, I just see this massive, the complex.
Yeah.
And I see like people everywhere. I saw buildings upon buildings, and we had no idea what to expect. So we're like, okay, I think we just follow these people, and they'll kind of show us what to do. Then we saw the big ball. Let's take a picture there. And then we're like, where do we go now?
Luckily, our friend by that point, like it was funny. She was texting me. She's like, you go when you get dropped off, go straight, go this way. I'm like,
actually, it was Molly.
Molly.
Yeah,
and
so
Belinda,
Molly gave me step-by-step
And we were-
directions on what to do when we get there.
Molly's
She's like, you hang her right, and that's the building where you get like your was it the bib?
The bib.
Yeah.
It
well,
very much
the
felt like
first night is merch.
Merch,
So
yeah,
if you had a virtual queue of one, you needed to go to merch first.
Yeah.
So it very much felt like in Finding Nemo when he's like, it's like they're trying to talk to me. That's what it very much felt like because we had no idea. It was like left, right, left. And then my friend called and she's like, I'm right at like the entrance of it. Meet me here and I'll guide you guys through it. So we did have like our own personal guide to how to get to the merch section. And
then the first building was actually the Brooks section for the new Brooks shoes.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
that's very well done.
Yeah, so it was actually very smooth.
Yes.
I thought it was going to be crazy for that. And they had like a shoe fitting size, and they had like examples of all the different shoes. And there was one that I had my eye on, so I ended up getting the Mickey one. And it looked awesome. And then from there, we went to the next building.
So basically what they had was they had the Brooks section, and it was really nice because if you know your size, you know what you wanted, you would get a little sheet of paper and it had all the designs and sizes. You would note that down, and they're like, if you want to try them on, you're welcome to go to like this experience, or you can take it to our actual booth inside of where the rest of the merchandise was. So it was very smooth, especially coming from Disneyland, that sometimes our stuff is not run as smoothly when it comes to outside vendors coming in. So he got his little sheet, wrote it down. We got our beer because everybody kept telling us about the cups.
Beer cup.
Sorry about that. That's my
good.
Do that. Sorry. Let me turn that off. That's okay. There we go. Okay, so you go into the the Brooks running was in the same building as the merch?
Yes. So
okay.
It looked like where they normally would queue you up. If you had the virtual queue, like the big lines and stuff, it was to the side of it. So there, it was the first thing that you kind of like get walked into was the fitting station, basically.
Awesome.
But if you didn't need it,
I heard great reviews of it. Apparently, from back in the day when they had New Balance, it was every man for themselves, and
that's what we had heard
smoothly, and it was a nice experience.
So
that's
smooth.
No, it very much seemed like they knew how to run their stuff. Like I said, you had the option to try it on, or you could go ahead and just write down your order, and you would go pay for it and claim it. You keep going like the little loop into the actual arena where they have all the Run Disney merchandise, and then to the side was the Brooks where you would pay and get your shoes.
So how did you feel about walking into the space with the merch?
Oh, that was massive.
Was just overwhelming. Like so much merch.
It seemed like chaos, but an organized chaos. I heard Marathon Weekend was a lot worse.
Marathon Weekend is insanity. And
Princess, right?
The problem is they have you don't know, like, if you're just doing a particular, I don't want to say just, I hate when people say that, but if you're doing a particular race and you're looking for the merch for that particular race, you have to first find that section. So it makes it like you're looking at stuff and you're like, wait, that's for the 5K. I want stuff for the half marathon, or I want something for the 10 miler. So you're just kind of, it's a little bit just trying to acclimate. I think that I wish that they would have maybe some signage high that would say like 5K, 10K, so you knew where you were going. And I guess they kind of want you to get lost because then maybe you buy something else that you weren't going to plan on it. I don't know. But it is a lot. And then did they have the whole section of just general Run Disney stuff all
Yes,
around?
Yes.
exactly.
So basically, when you would walk in, the first section was your general Run Disney week, springtime surprise weekend merchandise. So you would have your ears, your lug, that sort of thing. The spirit jerseys, everything was on the stuff facing you, and then behind it was the other general springtime surprise weekend, like the tech shirts, the jackets, that sort of thing. And then you went into 5K, 10 5K, 10K, 10 miler. And then there was some just regular Run Disney branded items. And then one thing I did notice and I did like more than, for example, at Disneyland is their pass holder stuff. They had it all on a big wall to the side. So you didn't have to be fighting in the general section for trying to find your pass holder items. And I did notice that you had to show your pass to the people, and then they would hand you whatever item you wanted. So you weren't just grabbing it. I did notice that very much differently than our Magic Key section that we get at Disneyland. Because for that, it is kind of like every man for yourself. And then we've noticed a lot of the times they still have the sizes. They're just up front because people don't realize it was like a pass holder exclusive.
So did you get anything you liked?
Yeah, I always like to get a hat. So I got the springtime hat, and then I got the 10 miler shirt.
Yeah.
And I also got the springtime surprise like tech shirt. So I kept it very minimal because I was like, we still have a whole week here. I can't spend all my money on just this first day. But I know when we go to the marathon weekend, I'm probably gonna get a little crazier with the merch.
Christmas is right before then, so ask for gift cards.
But so after that, I thought we were done. I didn't realize there was still like 4 more.
2 other buildings. Yeah. And did you do any of the pictures with the numbers or anything?
We did the number one. So we did the 10 miler one. They had him right where you get your bib. So that was the next building that we went to. We picked up our bib. And then in the middle of all of the different booths, that's where they had the numbered ones. We didn't make it to where they had the characters because, like I said, we were still kind of on a family vacation and we still had to go back for our lunch reservations and back to Magic Kingdom. But we did at least get that one.
And I was just going to ask you a question. No, I forgot. We were talking about. Oh, and how did it work with getting your coast to coast? Did that work smoothly?
For me, it did. So I went and I got my corral placement. I had a corral, and then I walked away and I was like, I think I'm missing something. So I went back and was like, hey, I think it says coast to coast. And then, oh yeah, let me get you your bracelet. So they did that, and then so that was very smooth. But for her,
so when I went to go get my stuff they gave me like my bib number, everything. I did find it interesting that you get your pins there, and I almost didn't grab them because I'm like, oh, they're always in the Run Disney bag, at least on Disneyland side. And I'm glad I did. She's like, no, take them. I'm like, okay. So I walked away, and then I met up with Davis and our friend, and they're like, where's your wristband? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, your coast to coast wristband. You're supposed to get something. And they didn't tell me. I had no idea. Again, it's our first coast to coast, our first Walt Disney World race. When I went back, the gal that helped me, she was really nice. She's like, oh yeah, let me give you that. And their manager like heard it and they're like, well, is she even eligible? Like, and just got very like defensive. I was like, yes, I am. I ran. I'm like, I ran a lot. Yes. And they literally had to pull it up again. And they had me pull up the email. They pulled it up on their end, checked with my ID, basically all over again, even though I already had my bib. And then once she was like satisfied with it, she's like, okay, you can give her the bracelet. So it was a very different experience about it.
So I think that's one thing that I think still learning on both coasts. Like, because not every runner is eligible. I think that's part of it. So it's like an extra thing. So just for all the listeners out there, if you're going to do coast to coast, I would put it on yourself as I need to ask for this or make sure that I get it because we have had many friends who have had that same situation on either side where they've walked away like, wait a minute, how do they know I get coast to coast? And they're like, you didn't get your bracelet. So then they have to go back through the line and everything. So, okay. So finish your very first expo, you get all that stuff, you go back to the Magic Kingdom to meet your family. You have a great day at Magic Kingdom, I'm assuming.
Yes. It was a long day. We stayed till closing.
Of course. Why not?
Yeah.
It's a Run Disney race weekend. Stay till closing.
I mean, we had to do Tron in daytime and Tron at nighttime. When we went the last time, they were still like under the whole building it and things like that. So we're like, we can't not do it twice.
So yeah, it was a long day. I think we got like 10 miles of
Yeah.
just walking in there for the
Yeah.
first day.
But luckily, you didn't have to wake up the next day for a race.
I actually did
We
wake
did wake
up
up,
early
actually.
the next morning
We went to go cheer everybody on.
for the 5K.
Oh gosh, you
So I
guys are
still
really-
took the 3:30 bus to go out and cheer
Oh.
for them.
But that was something about getting back to Magic Kingdom. This is the start of the saga with the buses. So we originally were leaving the expo with time to go back to Saratoga to drop off all, because he bought the shoes. We wanted to drop everything off. We were waiting for the bus for 15 minutes. Finally, a bus arrives. They put us on the bus, and it's about another 15 minutes, and they're like, we can't find the driver.
Yeah, so we're just sitting on the
So
bus.
we're just
we're
sitting on
like,
the bus, and
okay.
now we're looking at the time like, I don't think we have enough time to go to Saratoga and then take the bus to Magic Kingdom. So we were like, okay, let's just switch over to the other bus. And we were going to switch over to Contemporary because we had lunch reservations at Steakhouse 71. Go over to the Contemporary line, and they're like, the bus should be here. At one point, the girl's like, I see the bus. It's right there. She goes over to the middle where all the buses are parked, and the bus driver tells her, no, I'm not ready. And it's another 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And we are nowhere closer to being on a bus. By this point, we're getting a little bit desperate because we need to get to our reservations for them to seat like our family and everything. We ended up having to take the bus to the Poly, and then from the Poly we took the monorail to Contemporary.
Yeah,
So we
it's-
wasted about like an hour and something just
Yeah.
trying to get back in general.
Yeah, it's a difficult process.
Yeah.
And again, those buses are run by another company.
No, complete.
Not
That's when we
Disney.
learned that.
They're not Run Disney employees, or they're
Yeah.
not Disney employees, but it does get a little tricky. I've had some situations. We've all had. I mean, people have missed starts of races before because bus drivers have gotten lost. So it's. I would say my. I guess what I would advise is if you think the expo is going to take you 2 hours, double it. Everything.
Yeah,
Mhm.
we definitely think that.
Transportation, getting there, getting in and out of there, like it's just a long process, and it isn't as you think you can just pop over, grab your stuff, and get out of there. But again, with buses and transportation and getting through the lines, it could be crazy. So, well, did you make it to lunch?
We did make it to lunch,
Yeah,
and
we
it
had
was
a great
delicious.
lunch. Yeah. Uh-huh.
It was nice being back at that restaurant.
Uh-huh.
Good. And then you closed out Magic Kingdom. You guys were amazing teammates, and you get up the next morning and cheer. I can't believe that. That's crazy, but good for you. That was nice of you all to go do that.
Uh-huh.
And so then that's Friday, right?
Friday was the 5K day. Yep.
Then what did you do Friday?
So after we cheered for everybody and the race ended, we had an early entry for Epcot that day. So it worked out. We just walked right over. Security's like, oh, you don't even need to get checked
Yeah.
again. You guys can just go right in. We're like, this is perfect.
We walked right
Sweet.
onto Guardians.
Yeah, so we walked right into Guardians, waited like 15 to 20 minutes, and we were on
Awesome.
Guardians. Yeah.
Nice.
And so we spent the entire day open to close, literally open at Epcot to the very end.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so you got maybe 1 or 2 miles on your legs, just a couple.
Getting our sea legs
oh,
ready.
so one thing I forgot to say was the walk from the buses to the start line.
That's a lot.
That's a long walk.
So
Okay.
that's a warm up.
But not as bad as it used to be. The
Oh,
half
yeah.
marathon and the marathon, it was honest to goodness a 1.5 mile walk to the start. They've changed it, so now it's all the same start. But in previous years, it used to be absolutely ridiculous. Like people will tell you how long it was. So it's gotten better, believe it or not.
Okay.
So
Again, I think coming from Disneyland that everything's like
You just
right
hop
there.
Yeah.
yeah, everything is right there. It's so awesome. You're like, oh my gosh, we're at the start. How'd this happen? Everything is right there. And Disney were like, yeah, we're just going to take you on a nice little 3-mile stroll before your 3-mile run. So yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so you go to Epcot all day. You do all the things. Any excellent food or meals that you want to talk about?
That
Or
day we had dinner at Hacienda de San Angel.
in the Mexico Pavilion.
Yum.
So yeah, great. Yeah, another great dinner.
Delicious.
Um,
We tried some items from the food for Flower and Garden. You had what was it? Some sort of fish.
oh, the conch, I think.
Yeah, you had the.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Yes, we tried all the festival food, and yeah, we rode Guardians twice.
Twice that day.
Yeah, twice that day.
Fun. That's the way to do it.
Uh-huh.
That's a good day. All right. So now we get to Saturday. Now this is the day before your race. So did you take it any easier?
No, I still want to go cheer on people for the
Okay.
10K. So I was out there again at 3:30 in the morning.
Wow. All right. So, sleep is just an option for you. All right. So you go out, you cheer people on. Very awesome. It's so fun to see people on the course that you know and have people cheer. So you go cheer the 10K. And then what do you do?
We went straight to Animal Kingdom that day.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that was us taking it easy. Animal Kingdom closes early. It's fine.
It does close early. Any awesome experience at Animal Kingdom or anything in particular? Any highlights?
Finally got to ride Everest.
Yes.
So last time we went, every time we got in line for Everest, it broke down. So I never got to ride it.
We had like about 6 lightning lanes of like the multi-experience things that they would keep giving us.
And it kept breaking down.
So we kept riding Flight of Passage. I've never met anybody until us that we were tired of Flight of Passage because we're like, we just want to ride Everest. So that was like one of our goals for this Animal Kingdom trip was to get on it. And it was great. We really enjoyed it. We also got to eat at Nomad Lounge. Last time we ate inside of Tiffin's. So it was nice to be on the outside.
Yeah, Nomad Lounge is great too.
The couches are so comfortable. I'm like, I don't want to ever get up from here.
Yeah, one of our co-hosts, Jeff, he is diehard Nomad Lounge fan.
I can see that. Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't like Tiffin's, but I like Nomad's Lounge. I know it doesn't make any sense, but well, if you are so inclined, you can also ride Everest during the full marathon. So something else.
That's what I keep telling him. I'm like, he's fast enough to do it. I'm like, I would be risking a lot.
So it's pretty awesome. I've done it 3 years in a row now. So
awesome.
My 1 year it was under refurbishment, and I was like, wow.
It's like, how dare you?
It'll be great. So it will definitely, your watch will give you really crazy results. Like, look at that mile. And you're like, oh, that was Everest mile. So something to look forward to in January. So it's not all terrible Blizzard Beach. There's also great things. I mean, the race is really great, but that is, for me, that's a personal highlight. So, okay. So please tell me you went to bed at somewhat a normal hour.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So we didn't stay fully till the end at Animal Kingdom. We actually got basically everything done before we thought. We even got to ride the safaris twice, beginning of the day and the last thing for our day. And we got to see the baby tiger. And he's adorable.
Yeah.
Like, so cute. And then we went back to our hotel. I did actually call it an early night, but he actually went out with the family for dinner, and I was like, you know what? I know myself. I need my sleep. So took a shower, went to bed. But I think it was like 8:30. He texted me. He's like, we're barely getting our table. I'm like, I'm already in bed. So he got back at like 9:40.
About 9:40. But I went to bed right when I got back.
Straight to bed after that. So that is an early night for us in terms of like race weekend stuff. But I felt really refreshed the next day. You look fresh.
Yeah, I woke up at 1:30 for Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So off you go. All right. So now you're both getting on the bus. You're heading to your first Walt Disney World Run Disney event. So you get on the bus, head over there. You're ready. Tell me all about it.
Yeah. So we were on the first. I want to say we were on the first bus.
Yeah.
So yeah, we made sure we got there early. And then I waited for some of the lizards at our meeting spot to take a picture. There's only like 5 of us. But yeah, so it was good to see them. And then she got into her corral about 3:40. About 3:40.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were waiting in our corrals, and yeah, it was a nice warm up. I love the pre-show like entertainment that we don't have at Disneyland at all. So it's nice to see the characters out there. They hype everybody up.
That was really nice.
Chris and John are great.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Yeah. we love Carissa. It's
And then the energy there just
Yeah.
from the start, I think was so much more than Disneyland. I wasn't like it was very got me in the mood to go.
you can
Good.
tell the difference that you're in like their own property
Yeah.
with nothing else around you in terms of like hotels, which I think that's the downside to Disneyland is we don't have the space for it. We
Yeah.
are creating a space for the race itself, so they can't have the entertainment blasting because you have the hotels literally next to them.
Yeah.
But
That's
I think
residents. I mean,
Yeah.
people there who have to go to work and things. Like, you know,
exactly. So I think having that like music just loud and like really feeling it totally gets a different vibe and environment going for all the runners. When I went to my corral, I mean, it was still decently early and there was already a lot of people. I was surprised at that. Generally, because I was in Corral D and generally Disneyland corrals, I would say C and back, they don't get that full until pretty much like right at the cutoff. So it was nice to see like other people that wanted to be there early and be ready. I am very thankful for my friend because I was on the front right side. I don't like being too much by people. I was like, okay, I have space here. She's like, no, you need to go to the left. They don't open the corral on the right. They open it on the left. If not, I probably would have been trampled and left behind.
yeah, yeah. I don't think I've even realized that or paid attention to that. But yeah, that's it's the excitement of everything and being
Yeah.
around other people and talking to people in the corral and
Oh,
waiting,
totally.
watching Pelkey and Carissa on screen
Oh,
and Riley and all of them. It's just a fun morning and hearing people's stories and so ready to go. Okay, so now 3, 2, 1, go! Fireworks go off. Now you're off on the race, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming forgive me, I did not look at the race course. I'm guessing you looped Epcot first and then
Yes.
Yep. College is the very first
Enter
thing.
through Mexico.
yeah, that's what I made. I just made that assumption. I should have looked, but I was like, okay, I bet you it's the similar race course. So what did you think running through?
So after the first mile, I realized how warm Disneyland is, or Disney World is. So this is the most sweaty I've ever been after the first mile. I'm like, wow, I am drenched in sweat. And yeah, I was like, okay, maybe this isn't gonna be like a PR race, but I still ended up hitting my goal time. But yeah, after that first mile, I was like, okay, it's a lot. The humidity is a lot higher here.
Yeah.
But I thought the course was amazing. Running
You
through
have to-
Epcot, yeah.
Water and electrolytes are
Yeah.
you have to take. I don't typically run with a sodium anything, tablet or anything, but I do in Florida because it's just the humidity level, it just sucks it all right out of you. So a little bit of different hydration and everything there. Especially Marathon Sunday, I stop for almost every water stop because even if I just swish it around in my mouth, like it just that heat gets to you.
Totally.
Humidity, yeah. Okay, so off your course you go. So big question for both of you.
Yeah.
Did you stop for any characters?
I did not. I was like, I'm going for a goal time. I was just like, I'm just gonna keep going. I think I ended up coming in, what was it, like 30th place overall.
I think it was like 8th in your division.
Yeah, so yeah, I was running for a time.
Yeah.
So I just kept going. But the course was awesome. Running through Epcot was so cool. And then we went on the boardwalk for a little bit. I went through Hollywood Studios. It just seemed like a blur, but it was so fun.
Well, at the pace that you're running, it was a blur. So
I know. I always love like, did you see this? Like what? I was like, we ran.
And then I guess some people were complaining about like the little to get onto the highway, but I thought it was fine. That's where I was actually running, probably like my fastest. Was going up the highway ramp and
going up the overpass. The only thing about it is the ground is uneven, so you are running a little bit at a slant. So for marathon weekend, if you're doing dopey by day 4 and you've gone up those, you're like, okay, I can feel that we're running a little bit at a turn, but yeah, but I'll take the characters and entertainment and movies and everything else going on, enough to distract me that I'm like, oh, I forgot I was running.
Yeah, I love the just the cheering too. There's on-course entertainment the whole time. The music was blasting the whole time. I thought that was amazing.
I heard the music for this race weekend was on point.
It was fantastic.
I actually turned off my headphones like, hey, this is awesome. because normally I just zone myself out with my own music, but there was music blasting the entire race, which I thought was awesome.
They
Yeah,
did a really nice job with the music selection for this one, because for the half marathon in January over at Disneyland, that we have so many good songs that could be for that theme of like Adventure Mickey, and it was just very mellow. And when you're trying to keep up for your pace, you don't need mellow. I'm like, come on, let's get some Hans Zimmer in here, something, pumping you up. But it was a very nice contrast over here. It was upbeat. It just kept you going the entire time. I had one character goal that I was going to stop at if I saw him, and that was Duffy, but he was not out. He was only out during the 5K. So it was really sad. But I did see Perry the Platypus out on the course, and
I did see Perry the Platypus. He was out marathon weekend, and it started raining, and so they had to bring him out. Yes, that was 2 years ago.
And I didn't see the line. I was like, oh, I'm gonna stop for Perry. If I didn't get Duffy, I'm at least stopping for him. Yeah, the line was like really far back. I'm like, I would have to run backwards to get to it. So I was like, it's okay. I'll just take a side photo of him. And then they had quite a bit of characters out. I will say I thought they would have a little bit more rare characters, such as like, again, Perry and stuff like that. But you had like a lot of your usuals. I don't know if they might be rare for Walt Disney World, but we get them quite a bit in Disneyland. So they had, they had Mando and Grogu at Hollywood Studios. They had Sully from Monsters, Inc. I also saw from DuckTales, they had a couple characters out, but not the Duckies. And there was like a couple different ones that, again, I don't know if they're not common for Walt Disney World, but we do tend to get them a little bit more on our coast. So that's the only one that I really wanted to stop for was Perry. And Duffy, if he would have been out again, but he wasn't. I did appreciate the cast members from Japan. There, I had my Shelley May ears. They're like, Duffy. I was like, yes, Duffy.
And don't be mad at us. We did not get photos with Shelley May and Alani.
Oh no!
No, my heart.
My daughter was like, I don't know who they are. I don't want to do it. Are you sure? Like, this is like rare. And she's like, I don't want to. Okay, this is.
I will say, when we had them here in California, like, I think me and a few other people were the only ones that actually enjoyed Duffy and Friends. And then it's funny to see how much he's grown after the fact. I'm like, but we had them. Nobody paid attention to him. Yeah. But I'm glad he's making a comeback for us over here. And the one photo pass I did fully stop for, because there was absolutely no one. I don't know if they didn't realize it was a photo stop option, was in front of Guardians of the Galaxy. They literally had a photo pass person there, and they called me out from the course. They're like, do you want to do it? There's nobody. We have no one. I was like, okay. They did like 2-3 photos in front of the starship and everything. It was fantastic. I'm like, well, can officially say I stopped for a photo.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the crowd support was awesome too.
Good.
Yeah, crowd support, the cheering just from the cast members. Yeah, so much more than Disneyland.
Yeah, the races. What was the theme of the 10K? I can't remember.
Incredibles.
Okay, I love the Incredibles.
Oh, yes. I saw some of the most amazing costumes the whole time.
The costumes. People are just
the Edna Mode costumes we got to see were fantastic.
So I think people go a lot harder at Disney World than they do at Disneyland.
Yes. I saw some Syndrome costumes. I was like,
yes, there was a Syndrome in our bus. That was another cool thing about the bus experience, was getting to chat with.
Yeah, we got to make friends with everybody on the bus. Yeah.
Everybody's so friendly.
Oh,
he had like the full wig, like full, and he's like, I don't know how this is gonna stay on for 10 miles, but here we go. I'm like,
I was for Halloween for Wine and Dine. I was Manamana, and I made snoots for the amazing. But it was 9 million degrees, and I had feathers. Feathers don't breathe. I learned. Yeah, that was a really bad choice. Like, we got back to the hotel, I'm like, get this off of me. Like, it was awful. So the people who costume and they're committed to their costumes, some of them they are. I don't know how. Yeah. I don't know how, but
that was definitely the best costumes I've seen for sure. At Disneyland, I feel like they don't go as hard on the costumes.
Tell me about the post party. Did you guys stay around for that, or?
We definitely did. Got my beer. Yeah, we had like 2. I think I had like 2 beers.
Yeah.
But I loved like the whole atmosphere, the environment. Definitely more of a party vibe. Disneyland is like, go. They're like, get out. get out.
You
Yeah.
get your I did it photos and
Yeah.
all that.
We
Yes.
did.
Good.
Yeah. I was a sweaty mess, but totally worth it.
I know.
Yeah.
One of the things I did notice, even from like the Run Disney, just regular backdrop ones, they had like little things you could hold that said like I finished a 10-miler or I did the challenge, and I thought that was just such a nice like little touch that they did additionally, and they had like the tables for you to put your stuff on, so you're not trying to. I mean, after
Much more
10 miles
organized,
or a
yeah.
half marathon, you're tired. You don't want to be bending down to pick up all your crap off the ground. So it was nice that they had, the little cocktail tables for you to do so. And they had so many PhotoPass photographers.
Yes.
That I think was a big one for us.
And then just getting our
seeing
coast to
it.
coast medal.
Oh,
That was like our
coast medal.
accomplishment.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, I
know
went
you
through
did
the
some great
streets to get that.
pictures with
Yeah.
the Coast Medal. So that's great. Well, any other highlights? I know we're going a little long here, but any other highlights or any other things you want to share about your race or I mean, this is big, your first Run Disney race.
Yeah, I think just
First East Coast Run Disney race.
Yes.
Let me correct that. Sorry, first Walt Disney World version.
So I think it was just the people we got to meet out there too.
Yeah.
All the other races. I made so many new friends out there just from standing next to them. And then the vibe was different than Disneyland. I think the people were friendlier. We got to meet friends from around the States and the world, I guess. And the vibe and the atmosphere, and definitely makes me want to do more races at Disney World. So I am so
Watch
excited.
out.
I know.
It's
Like
slightly
your points and miles.
But yeah, so we're super excited for marathon weekend. Everybody told us we have to do wine and dine, and then
I love Wine and Dine. I don't know. Everyone's like, oh, it's your first race weekend that you fall in love with. My first race weekend was Princess, and I like Princess. I like it a lot. I've done it a couple times, but something about Wine and Dine, it's the post race party. I love that.
That's what we've heard.
And it messes with your sleeping because you're up early and the party is really late that night. So you got to take a nap sometime on Sunday afternoon to work that in. But I don't know. I just have a really good time at it. It's just fun. It's the only race that has a party afterwards. And
where is the party?
At Epcot.
Oh, it's at so is it just for runners?
It's just for runners, and then you can buy a pass for anybody if your spouse or a friend didn't run. You can buy a hard ticket for them, but I think the tickets are like $100 or more. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that part up, but it's not a long party, but it's just fun. They have special characters out and special things like TJ.
Everybody shows off their medals. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I think it's a fun weekend.
That was, I think, the only thing that was kind of like sad. They were supposed to have this splash and dash party for Springtime Surprise this weekend, and we were debating buying the tickets. And even as we were debating it, everybody started posting that they got an email saying, "Hey, the party got canceled." So people got refunds and stuff for it. So that was the only thing because we really were considering, because we've heard so much about the Wine and Dine after party
this might
that we're like, okay, this might be fun to do. So it was kind of sad that they did end up canceling it because we didn't get that option to experience it. But it's just another reason to go out there for Wine and Dine.
Yeah, well, so exciting. Congratulations on earning your coast to coast. That is such a huge accomplishment. And I gotta admit, slightly jealous. Your coast to coast medals are a lot better than my coast to coast medals. So yours
I was very surprised.
They're pretty awesome. So congratulations. It's a huge accomplishment. I mean, really, I don't think people understand the commitment and the, taking off work and the financial commitment and the training and the getting out there and balancing having fun with your family and also running, and it's a lot. But it sounds like you guys, any other highlights or anything you want to share from the weekend? I know but
I did a few training runs outside Saratoga. I didn't realize I ran off property when I ran through Saratoga. So, Saratoga's pretty big. And I was running. I guess I ran past the Saratoga sign, past the Disney World sign. I was out on the streets of whatever city we were in. And I was like, why do I see a Burger King and a gas station? And so I ended up running 8 miles that day, outside the property. Had no idea how to get back.
So you came into Disney Springs.
Yeah, so I had to put my maps on. I was like, I don't know where I am. So I turned around, got back. Okay, I think I'm starting to recognize the things again. I passed the Saratoga sign, go. I see Disney Springs. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna turn into there. I guess I went past the security gate and I started running down Disney Springs. And the security guard all of a sudden starts yelling after me. He's like, hey, you can't be here. So he was chasing after me. So I stopped and I looked at him and I was like, I think I'm lost. I'm just trying to get back to Saratoga. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, man, you're too fast. So he was like, puffing. And then he guided me to where I had to go to get back to Saratoga Springs. That was quite an experience that morning.
And it was fun because we were waiting for him and we were eating breakfast in our room and we had like the TV on. It was like a news clip. I'm like, can you imagine? It just says like breaking news. Random man running through Disney Springs won't stop.
Yeah, so I realized the security guard was chasing me for probably like half a mile. I had no idea. And I was just running down. But yeah, I guess you can't be in Disney Springs when they're closed. So
Correct. Yeah. Well, now you know. So
yeah. But yeah, so that was quite an experience. But I was just trying to get acclimated to the weather because it was very humid.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the highlight of my training.
Yeah.
There's a story. There's a story you'll never forget. All right. Well, anything else you want to add about your any other highlights, running or not running, from your trip?
Like I said, we can't wait to be back for marathon weekend. And
I know.
It definitely sparked us that we want to do more Disney World races.
Yeah.
And I think this time we will reserve like a full day and a half for the actual expo. Now we get it. We get the whole,
because we were on such a short time frame for the first one.
Yeah.
And now we know it's like, hey, this could be like a full day activity
for like the characters and everything.
Yeah,
so
it's craziness.
Are you doing wine and dine as well?
We're doing wine and dine and marathon weekend.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to come back to Disneyland?
Maybe. Not right now. We have a daughter starting college.
Oh, that's important.
To be perfectly honest with you, we shouldn't be doing these two races. I feel like I can't miss marathon weekend. It's like a family reunion, and it's so fun to see everybody and reconnect. And I enjoy the meals and the meetups more than the running. I mean, the running is the weird stuff, but it's just such a great time to see everybody and meet new friends, reconnect with old friends. I don't know. There's something about it that I don't want to miss it. So yeah. So
yeah, we're excited for it. So I think we got the bug to definitely do more Disney World races.
That's awesome. Well, again, congratulations on your coast to coast. Welcome to East Coast running. We're glad you guys gave it a try. We will be back on the West Coast at some point in time. I know. I just got to talk my husband into it. But I'm so glad that you spent some time with us, told us about your trip, and it sounded awesome. So thanks again.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. So
yeah.
All right. So typically at this part of the show, we like to wrap up with a little bit of quacking up with the ducks. Okay. Yours truly, the host of this evening, failed to get a joke together. We were running around this weekend with my son's soccer. We left this morning at 6 for his game yesterday. I was running at 4:00 a.m. to get ready to go to his other soccer game. So I was scrambling, trying to get everything together. So I have zero jokes, but do you all have a joke you want to share?
Do you have one?
I might have one. I don't know if it's ever been done on the show before, but we can give it a go.
All right. If it has, no one's going to remember. I don't remember the joke I told last weekend. So.
All right. Why is the ocean blue?
I don't know. Why is the ocean blue?
Because all the fishies go bloop, bloop,
bloop. That's awesome. And I love how you delivered it perfectly. That was great. All right. Davis, do you have a joke?
I do not. I can't think of it.
Okay, a team joke. I appreciate it. That's good. One for the team. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. As always, please join our Facebook page. We loved all the engagement there and sharing of stories and questions and fun things that come up. And check us out on Instagram. I always text Lonnie, like, Lonnie, can you put something on Instagram? Because I never remember to do it. So join us in our conversation. We love getting to know new people and hearing your stories. Thank you, both of you, for spending time to tell us about your Run Disney race.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah.
And we will see you in January. So
yes, we can't wait. Is your whole family going to January?
No, just my husband and I. We're leaving the kid. Well, I don't know where our daughter will be heading back to college or whatever her situation is, but we're leaving. They go back to school from Christmas break. So we fly out Tuesday night, I think we fly out.
I think that's what we were looking at.
Yeah, that's what we're
Tuesday.
looking at too.
Yeah, so we normally fly out Tuesday because I hate flying on Expo Day. It just makes me too.
I feel like I need to be out there.
Yeah, that's why I think
So-
we learned this time was flying out at least to have the day before Expo Day in case of, like you said, if you miss
Well,
the
in January, you
Expo
never
Day.
know. I mean, you guys are coming from California, so chances are you're not going to get snow or issues.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
We come from Ohio, where
that's
we could
true.
have snow issues, and if you miss that first day, you don't get your dopey medal. So,
Oh, okay.
so we typically fly out the day, and that Tuesday is the day that my kids go back to school. So,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's
It's
a
hard.
chance to be like, well, you've been off for Christmas break for 2 weeks, and now you're gonna miss. So, anyway. Well, thanks again. It was awesome. Looking forward to meeting you both in
Yes.
January. So, well, face to face now that we know
Yeah.
each other.
Uh-huh.
And can't wait to follow along with your training. And it's going to be a blast. So
Yeah.
thanks again. And good night, everybody.
Hey, good night. Bye.
But like, I don't know how I got part of this group and with them, and how I'm the only girl. It's all very bizarre. But